We have had a lot of women come in and say, like, literally, I'm the only woman this is myself too. Like, I'm the only woman in the room a lot of the time, even though it might be a virtual room. I mean, a lot of the time. And it is very refreshing sometimes to just go into a room of women and it is a different feeling.
Welcome to The Parallel Entrepreneur. This is a special series on innovation supported by Relationary Marketing and the Chase Studios, recorded at the Greater Nashville Technology Council Innovation Summit. I'm joined today by guest host Johnny Anderson. He's the entrepreneur in residence at the Nashville Entrepreneur Center. Sit back and join us for this special edition of having authentic conversations with people that care. Our guest today is someone who understands that growth isn't just about strategy. It's about people, timing, and trust. Meg Chamblee is an executive vice president at UDig, where she established and leads the firm's Nashville office. Meg drives strategy and growth across a diverse portfolio of enterprise clients. Her work sits at the intersection of strategy, software, data, AI, and automation, helping turn big ideas into real, measurable impact. What makes Meg's perspective unique is the path she took to get here. She started in human resources, built recruiting teams from scratch, moved into business development, and ultimately into leading this technology consulting organization. In our conversation, we talk about two things that don't get enough airtime. One, how building a market is really about relationships before results. And two, how leaders who understand both people and technology are the ones creating durable growth right now. Let's jump into this conversation with Meg.
Where's one of the biggest impacts your community and your network and that effort you put in? What's one of the biggest returns that you've seen in a tangible way?
In a tangible way, I mean, yeah, my first thought is more about like professional experience and growth and stuff, but like there are certainly like networking tangibles. Like I met this person through this way, and that led to actual business that we're doing. That's happened quite a bit, honestly.
It's almost hard to track. It happens so.
When it's so interconnected. Like I think about our work with Tractor Supply is pretty public, so that's probably a good one to think about. I first met Glenn Allison at an NTC event, like when I first moved to Nashville. And then I met Marla Lamont, who was a tractor recruiter at the time, through a WiTT event in Nashville. And then I don't even remember, I met a bunch of other people in other ways, from the NTC to WiTT to Leadership Brentwood later. I did Leadership Brentwood through the Williamson Inc. group, and met even more people. So this is like 8 or 9 years of meeting people and exploring things, but never actually working together. And then at a Leadership Brentwood event, I run into Glenn and we were like, hey, we should do this together. And then like 3 months later, we were working together. And for us as UDig, and we're, I joined UDig to start the Nashville office about 6 years ago, and we're starting to, build out our client base and our team and everything. That was just it made a huge impact on our office, on our company, and now that was 3 or 4 years ago, and we're doing more and more with them, and it's been incredibly impactful, but definitely originated in community.
There are some things you give to that don't give back, and there are some things that you give to that have a return. We're talking about what is the return, but I've been here for 25 years. I haven't seen anything that I gave to in Nashville that didn't give back in some way.
100%.
I was going to say, I feel
Absolutely.
like everything has a return. It's just sometimes it's tangible.
There's these organizations that are all sort of purposed to make sure that this is fertile ground. And I just want to ask more. I mean, have you ever been in a situation where you didn't experience this return, this growth sense, the sunshine on the thing that you planted?
It's It's a good question. First of all, it's not like everything I go to, I think, ooh, what am I going to get out of it? Which I feel like is a really important part
It's
of
a huge,
the mindset.
crucial,
And I think that's where people get frustrated is they have the wrong expectations. I think if your motivation is just, I don't know, I just feel like I want to be a part of whatever this is, and at the end of the day, what I'm looking for is not something like I want to sign a deal after this thing.
Right.
I just want to learn. I want to get more involved. I want to see how I can help.
I'm just, maybe it's a bad question that I asked, but it was more like that seems to me to be the spirit of what you brought to everything. And so it continues to circle back.
Well, I think this was sort of my WiTT example. So when I first moved here, and I was everywhere. I mean, Brian Huddleston used to make fun of me, like, there's Meg again, like, she has nothing else to do. She's just at all the events. But through that, I met a lot of people. I got involved in things, and I wasn't like a career salesperson. I was in HR. I did some recruiting. Like, I wasn't, and so where I felt like I could be helpful was in helping people with campus recruiting, or I was trying to think of things that I could do to be helpful, but in the end it was just like literally anything. And when you get into an organization like WiTT, like, I'll help with registration, or I don't know, what do you need? Like, I'm around, I can do things. And eventually Beth Hogue, somebody referred me to her as they were looking for board members for WiTT. And she was like, hey, would you be interested in this? And that was the first board I'd ever been asked to be on. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, the board? I can't believe they would ask me. Little did I know,
I'm going to give you an offer
job.
you cannot refuse.
It's I want you to work for free. Like, how do you feel about that? But it was great, and that was a game changer for me. And then eventually I became president of WiTT, which gave me so much experience. I got to manage a P&L. I got to, you're really leading a team. It's an all-volunteer board. We don't have a staff. There's so much work to do. I did that during the pandemic. I mean, there was just a lot that I learned through that experience that's, to me, way more valuable than any client or relationship, because it just taught me a lot about myself and who I am as a leader, who I want to be. It's just been...
What's the conversation you want to be driving in Nashville?
I'm trying to think about that.
I know what the answer is.
What is it?
She's already doing it. It's helping grow leaders, helping grow followers, helping grow I've watched you help grow people. It's just her nature. Wow. And I think it points out, and I want your input on this. I think we've talked a little bit about why we go to the networking events and what we do, and the people that don't get our eyes on it. And I think it's about intent. And I think if I heard you right, it was mostly about go in with no expectation of a return. That's the only way to get a return.
Yeah.
Is to go in with an expectation of no return. And I've watched you play that out where Meg's just Meg, and she's there to help. And it's, you get grabbed at a lot. It's like an open bag of candy sometimes. And, everybody wants, everyone knows Meg can help, so everyone's going to ask for Meg's help.
We've had that conversation.
So tell me about a time you had to say no.
Well, you remember this time, maybe. So if you don't know, John and I, along with Joanne Ecton and Susie Earhart, put together this elite program for the NTC, the Emerging Leaders in Technology program, and now it's 10 years.
We are at our 10th year,
yeah.
Oh my
gosh. So very rewarding, great experience. With again the goal of there's a layer of leadership that's not getting addressed or connected. Like, we have CIO groups, we have user groups for practitioners, but new leaders, middle managers, those people need some love too. And so we kind of put this thing together. And so a few years in, I think I was pregnant with my second child when we were putting Elite together the first time. Mm-hmm. And I was on the board of WiTT at that time. There was a lot I was already doing. And I didn't leave any of those things. I took maternity leave, and then I went back to all of it, with everything. And after maybe a year or two of that, I was just like, oh my gosh, I cannot, this is too much. I can't do it. Now I have clients, I have more to do. I have 2 kids. I have, this is pre-COVID, so it's all in person, you know, and I'm like the screeching in mom at the daycare, like $5.59 before I'm going to get charged like $30. And we were on a call, and I was like, okay, I have to bow out of Elite. It's too much time. Like, I can't commit to this. And I think it was maybe all of you, but I remember Joanne saying, you know, you don't have to do as much as you're doing. Like, you can still be involved and not be, you know, and just be around. Like, you don't have to do so much of, you know, maybe your expectations are too high. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have to be at every single Elite thing every single time. It was just this permission to still be involved, but not like work so hard at it almost, or spend so much time on it. Which was just very freeing. And I'm so glad I stuck with it, because, you know, it continues to be this, I don't know, gift that keeps on giving in a lot of ways.
Actually, all I heard was we just wouldn't let her say no. That's that whole story, that we wouldn't take no for an answer.
But you let me, like, back up. I mean, you let me, you know, you let me hold myself to, like, not as high of an expectation on what I felt like I needed to do to, like, be helpful.
Well, and I think I learned this through some of that process as well, is you bring an oversized value in certain ways. There's things we're all good at, things I'm good at, things you're good at. And I think it was permission to focus on where you brought the most value. Focus there, don't worry about the rest of it. And I feel like that was that freeing part. And I've had that same conversation for me as well, mm-hmm. is we've got all this other stuff, but where you bring value, focus on that and that alone.
Yeah. I think I need to do it. I think I need to figure that out again, as we've talked about, because the alumni piece is where I was focused, and then that has not, we need to do more with the Elite alumni group than we're doing. And again, I feel like there's probably an actual alumni or someone else who could step up to do that, but it's been hard to recruit somebody to put the time that you really need into that part of the group. So this is my advertisement. If you're listening, Elite alumni, call me.
It's time for us to hand the torch over. Right. We are tired.
No, I think you guys have invested. You're looking for someone to come along in that diamond field that is Nashville and help you harvest some of the raw rocks. You know, I mean, this is what we're talking about today about Nashville is how is it evolving? What are the facets of Nashville's technology and innovation culture that you see? And I wanted to go back to something you said earlier. You left, you know, you're native. You left. You came back. You reestablished. There was a different place to live. I mean, Nashville had places that you didn't want to live, and now there are almost very few to no places that you don't want to live. I mean, I live in East Nashville. That would, like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. At some point in the past, the city has just continued to evolve, and the closer you are to the city, the more dynamic it is, and so you reestablished yourself, and you created a new energy center that you could give and it would support you. So what did you see in that experience that was different? You know, what about Nashville has changed in your mind most recently and over that window of time where you got reestablished?
So I moved back in early 2014. So Nashville was already different, but since then obviously has become very different. So I mean, you know, Nashville itself different. But I think also I was different, right? Like 10 years later, I'm a different person. Like I'm married, I have children. And so I think it was also like, okay, which part of Nashville is going to be the right thing for me now that maybe isn't what I would have expected when I was graduating high school, and like making assumptions that if I was here, I would just have whatever this life is that I had before. Mm-hmm. As an example, so I went to Harpeth Hall. I went to all private schools when I was here. I left. You know, my husband went to public school. That was kind of our track in Birmingham where we were living. We moved back, and it was like, okay, well, I guess we should live over here. Like, this is what my friends are doing. You know, like, let's figure this out. But then I'm working in, like, so that's like Green Hills, and I'm working in Franklin. it just wasn't really working for us the way that we needed it to for our family. And then, you know, I mean, Brentwood was around when I left, but I didn't live there. And so now that's where we are, and we're in the public schools, and it works so much better for our family. So I think none of that is really new Nashville, but I think it was more like, how do I fit my new self into the Nashville that I kind of am the best fit for?
Yeah. And the areas that we didn't talk, I lived in Brentwood for forever, and East Nashville for the last 7 years, and I look around at Gallatin and
Right.
Hendersonville and these places that are, I mean, you know, Williamson County's got the beacon of public education and great leadership and a lot of people who are contributing in so many ways. And then if you pull yourself out of that and look elsewhere, wow, there's something really incredible going on in Jolton right now, and in Fairview, places that I would have never even imagined. They're just it's like bubbling with creativity and just it's a great place to be embraced. I think everywhere I look, the communities are embracing each other.
Yeah, I think that's true too. And the economic development of the whole region is just a huge factor. I mean, I know there's a lot of, people might complain about growth, but we all grow with the growth, like because of that influx of companies that brings talent, that creates opportunity for people like us. And now my kids have exposure to new kids who are from California or from wherever, and that makes them better. Like the whole thing is more diverse. The whole community becomes more diverse with all these different experiences, instead of some other communities that might be, well, if you're not from here, you don't understand. And so I've been in some other communities that are just, they're less, there are fewer people from outside of those communities to bring in new ideas, which creates innovation, and they end up getting a little bit more stuck. And so I think that's to me maybe the most beneficial thing of Nashville's growth is just how innovative we can be, and how much more opportunity it creates for everybody here.
What piece of wisdom do you want to leave us with today?
Oh, I don't know if it's wisdom, but I would say I think just the Nashville way is to pay it forward. I know when I got here, people would say that to me, like they would take a coffee meeting because somebody took a coffee meeting with them, and I think that's been going on for decades in Nashville. So I think that is one thing that hopefully is still kind of permeating, even though people are coming in from other places, that they're feeling that when they get here, that it's not like every other city. It's a very giving town, to your earlier statement, and I would just say to pay that forward and keep that going so that we keep Nashville the special place that it is.
In all of these relationships that we're asking you to share, what is your wisdom? What is your observation? Tell us a story about one of the members of WiTT who you could confidently say they changed their life in some way. What would an example of that story be?
So this was the sister of a coworker of mine, and he had reached out and said, "Hey, my sister is a music teacher, and she wants to get into technology. And I think you're in this WiTT group. Would you mind talking to her?" And I talked to her. And she might have already known about WiTT. I honestly don't remember that completely. But she applied for a scholarship. She got the scholarship. She went back to school. I think it was NSS that she did to get her training. And then from that, got an internship at HCA, and then started working at HCA in IT. That probably took 2 years or 18 months or so. But that is life-changing. I mean, she completely changed her career. She then told her other teacher friend, I feel like maybe she was also a music teacher, and she did the same thing, and then it becomes this kind of ripple effect. where you're actually getting more people who might not have ever considered that career path before, and now they're in it and it's happening. And they, surely she would have done it anyway if she hadn't gotten the funding, but no doubt that funding helped make that decision for her and accelerate that pathway. So she's a good one, but there are so many. I mean, a lot of people who, whether WiTT's funding or a topic that you listened to or something that just made you think, I'm going to keep going. I was thinking about getting out of this. We have had a lot of women come in and say, like, literally, I'm the only woman this is myself too. Like, I'm the only woman in the room a lot of the time, even though it might be a virtual room. I mean, a lot of the time. And it is very refreshing sometimes to just go into a room of women and it is a different feeling, and I'm sure men, feel the same way in different areas. Like it can be more comfortable. So I have heard a lot of women say that, like, okay, at least I know I'm not alone, even though I am alone at my job or wherever. Like, I have this support group and other women who can support me, and countless times of job referrals and relationships, networking, leading to opportunities, for sure.
Hey, thanks for listening to another episode of The Parallel Entrepreneur. And thank you to our sponsors, partners, and the special team behind the scenes that make it all possible. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to our podcast and get the latest updates. And to learn more about this growing community of entrepreneurs, our mastermind and companion program for your parallel entrepreneur journey, visit parallelentrepreneur.com. And of course, thank you to all the visionary guests who trust us to share their stories.